Chris. Yeah, Chris was waiting the longest. Actually, as soon as we started calling studio a half hour ago, Chris was right there ready to talk to us. It says in the notes that they have a moral argument for the existence of the Christian God and that human ambitions to act moral are predicated on religious foundations. Chris, you're live with Eric and V.
Hello?
Hello. Can you hear us okay?
Yes. I'm on headphones. Is that okay?
That's all right. We're turning you up, and I think we're gonna. Yeah, I think we're okay. So, hit me. What do you want to talk about?
Well, first of all, Eric, I wanted to say happy birthday to you.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice of you. Yeah, I turned 35. So not the most exciting birthday, but year older. But Chris,
Really a bitch, ain't it, man?
It really is, dude. It is. But I've got to tell you, I am happier at 35 than I was at 25. That's for sure. So I found my person. I'm doing what I want to do. So I'm pretty good. But you wanted to talk about the moral argument for the existence of God. So you're a believer, a Christian, I'm assuming?
Yes, I've been a Christian for 30-something years. I have 2 kids, one still in high school, one just graduated college, and one of them kind of has dwelled away from religious beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
One of my kids, once they're adults, I can't control what they believe. I try to explain a few things to them, and about the moral argument about honesty.
Okay.
That's kind of the basis for it.
So just
say if you commit something.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Did you say honesty?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think that a person needs to be religious to be honest?
Well, it's based on a lot of religious principles. Like, say if you do something that nobody sees,
mm-hmm.
nobody's there to punish you for it. Then
right.
What basis do you have to not continue that action?
Well, that's a really good question. I think that, V, could you turn my volume up a little bit more?
Sure.
Thank you. I honestly, from where I'm standing, think that it's the other way around, that religion follows us, that religious teachings simply reflect the values that humans have. And so the people who wrote those books are reflecting those values. And so kind of from that scope, looking at that, right? Why would you do something if nobody is watching? Because as social creatures, we do have values and we would act on those values whether or not someone is watching. We may act a little bit differently, maybe more inclined to show ourselves as moral creatures if no one was watching. But yeah, I think that we're still going to behave the way we're going to behave.
Yeah, but there's no consequence for what you do.
Well, we don't know that. What's an example of something that you would be doing that's dishonest in secret multiple times if you were not an honest person? Can you give me an example?
Like a sin?
Well, like something dishonest, because we're specifically talking about honesty right now.
Oh, the number one, lying. Looking at someone in the face and lying to them, deceiving them.
Okay.
Fooling. That's absolutely the most dishonest, disgusting thing one can do.
To lie to somebody?
Yes, to be a liar.
Okay. What is an example of a lie that you're talking about here? Is it like, oh, I like your hair when you actually don't like their hair, or is this what kind of a lie? Let's role play for a second.
Well, that's a little white lie. Those are kind of harmless lies.
Okay, so harmful lies are the problem.
Impact the well-being of, say, like your friend or your neighbor. That impact changes their life. That makes them distrustful.
Okay. So we're talking specifically about lies that would harmfully impact somebody else?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Like what?
Okay, let's say I was unfaithful to my wife. I told her I was out going to get something for dinner or something, and I blatantly lied to her. She knows I lie, and I'm actually not going out and getting there. I think you know where this is going.
Okay.
Let's say that's pretty
Okay.
That makes sense.
Is that a good example? Or?
That is a good example. But the thing that's confusing to me is, did you say that she knows that you lied? Because that would be a different situation. You're talking specifically about situations where you wouldn't get caught?
Yeah, she doesn't know what the lie is, but she knows that there's a lie involved.
Oh, okay. So
I lied to her.
Okay.
So do you think if you weren't a believer, you wouldn't feel guilty?
Still, it's in your heart to feel guilty. It's in there. It's in your heart.
I mean, I understand the flowery language, and I would agree with you in concept that it's a part of you, right? You would feel guilty about being dishonest with and taking advantage of the trust of somebody that you've dedicated your life to in this example. I think that believer or non-believer, you're going to feel guilty and shameful about it. And if you don't, that's pretty crummy. And that's a fact, whether you're a believer or not. I really don't know where the belief comes into it. Like I don't feel less guilty as a non-believer, if I did that. I would imagine the same for you. So I don't know how you're getting this idea or where you're getting this idea from. It sounds like you're carrying this assumption that non-believers are sociopaths somehow.
Well, not sociopaths. Let's say you punch somebody in the face. You don't like their face. You go up to them, you punch them in the face.
Right.
You want to hurt them. You want to cause pain on them without facing any kind of consequence or action taken. Now, if I can just do that, if I could just walk outside and punch somebody who I don't like, who looked at me funny, what justification do I have to not go punch the next person?
Well,
I could just keep doing it. I could go punch all my neighbors.
Chris, I'll tell you why, because you're not an asshole.
Well,
you're carrying this assumption. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Yeah. Chris, you're carrying this assumption that, number one, people don't do bad things because otherwise they're going to get fucking spanked for it. And that's just not true. We're moral, ethical creatures, and those morals and ethics are based in reality, right? We live in a world where people act morally and ethically. Don't pretend, because you are just pretending that those morals and ethics go out the windows if you stop believing, and I just don't accept that. And so let's go back to your original assertion. That way we don't get confused here. Let's talk about the assumption of cheating on your wife. Would a non-believer not feel guilty? Because that is a horrible assumption for you to make. I really want you to clarify and let me know if I'm making a bad assumption here. Do you think a non-believer would feel just fine cheating on their wife if they don't get caught?
They have no reason to feel guilty.
That's not the question that I asked you, Chris. There's a very fine difference. Do you understand what that difference is?
Yes.
Okay, so do you think that a non-believer would not feel guilty or shameful if they betrayed the trust of a person that they dedicated their life to? Do you think they wouldn't feel guilty?
I don't think they would feel guilty. No, I don't think they'd have a reason to. I don't think.
Okay, so Chris, what you're telling me is that you wouldn't feel guilty if you didn't get in trouble for cheating on your wife.
I'm a believer.
No. Hold on. No, that aside, if you didn't believe, you're saying you wouldn't feel guilty for cheating on your wife. Because right now, what I'm assuming, what I'm getting is you're taking your moral issues and putting them on everybody else. And the fact is, if that is your moral stance, then I think you're not a very moral person. And it is not fair for you to take your crummy morals and put it on everybody else.
Well, sometimes she does piss me off, but I would never take that to a full extent of saying, hey, I'm going to ruin your life and break up my marriage. I would never do that. I'm not that kind of man.
Well, and the fact that you're looking at it in a retributive way is weird, but we'll just put that on the shelf for now. Chris, all you're telling me right now, all I'm getting from this is that if you don't think you're going to get punished, you're going to do really shitty things because I don't understand why you're putting that on us. It's callous. It removes the humanity from the other people you're talking about. It assumes a kind of sociopathy from other people. And I'm trying to point this out to you because it is an atrocious assumption. Don't you want to start a conversation? No, don't you want to start a conversation by assuming the humanity in the other person you're talking to? Aren't you going to get further that way?
I don't know. I don't know you personally.
Okay.
I don't know how the Lord has affected you. I don't know your backstory. I don't know everything leading up to this point.
Well,
That's
then let me give you a beautiful tool that's going to help you moving forward. Okay. It's the principle of charity. When you interact with somebody, you need to be charitable to them. Be charitable in the way that they are, if they're talking and they say something that sounds awful, ask them, clarifying questions. Assume that they misspoke, right? If they are talking to you about morals, assume that they have a high moral standard until they show you that they don't. Because if you come at it from the other way around, you're just painting the other person as a monster, and that gets you nowhere. Do that for everyone. Don't think you need to know everybody's life. Do that for everyone. That makes you a charitable listener and a charitable interlocutor. Do that. Start with that.
God bless. The Lord would be proud. God bless. God bless.
God bless what?
Yes.
What?
The statement you just made. The statement you just made. It was very well said.
Thank you. Chris, will you do that moving forward?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So restate what you were going to say. Do you think that does your moral argument now make any sense at all, given that context? Assume that I'm a moral person.
It makes even more. I think it makes even more sense after. I think it makes even more sense. Very clear to everyone watching.
What is?
Is Eric secretly a Christian?
Of a religious foundation. No, you're not secretly a Christian. You've always been one.
Well, then why are you calling? If we're Christians, then we're fine.
Chris, okay, and you have always been a liar and you've always cheated on your wife. How about that, Chris? Is that a nice assumption for me to make?
I have never.
You've always been a liar. No, you've always cheated on your wife, and you hit your kids too. Is that a nice assumption for me to make?
I have never done that.
Was that nice of me to say, Chris?
Absolutely not.
Was that an assumption that I made that I put on you and didn't even give you the opportunity to rebut? I didn't even give you the opportunity, did I?
Absolutely. It's absolutely.
I agree. So why did you just do it to me?
How did I do it to you?
You said you've always been a Christian. You said you've always been a Christian. That is an assumption that you put on me, and you never gave me an opportunity. And in your heart, you've always been a liar, and in your heart, you've always cheated on your wife. And you hit your kids. And you cheat on your taxes. I don't know. Chris, none of those things don't carry those assumptions, dude. It's rude. If you're going to talk to me like a human. Don't talk at me like a stern father, because it's not going to get you anywhere. All it's going to get you is hung up on or brushed off, because that's not how people act. You're not my dad. And even if you were going to act like that, I wouldn't listen to you. Chris, it's rude.
Well, I'm pretty sure you're one of those abortion supporters that supports Planned Parenthood jerking off on dead corpses. Dead baby corpses.
Wow!
Chris! Are you accepting that, boy?
But I thought we were Christians.
No. Hold on a second. Listen to me, boy. You don't fucking call in like that. Okay, fine. He's done.
Wow.
What the fuck was that?
That definitely wasn't Chad. That was somebody else pulling a Baba Booey.
I don't think it was a Baba Booey. I think he just ran out. I think he just ran out.
Oh my gosh.
He pissed me off.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
I'm confused how we can be Christians in our heart and yet do what this guy's apparently thinking we do.
I don't think it's acceptable. If you're going to talk to a person of color and call them boy and assume that the conversation's going to continue.
Holy shit, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, I know you didn't, which is why
Yeah, that's fucking...
Yeah, don't fucking do it.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, everybody. If you're going to call in and do that shit, no wonder your kids aren't talking to you. I really hope they don't.